My name is Leonard Brooks, and at 78 years old, I learned something painful about success. The more money people inherit, the more easily they confuse status with character. My son stopped speaking to me after I married a woman who worked part-time at a small public library. He called her a gold digger. Embarrassing. Socially beneath our family. And for almost 2 years, he treated me like I had destroyed our family legacy out of loneliness and bad judgment. Then one hospital emergency changed everything. And suddenly, the son who spent decades worshiping wealth had to confront a humiliating truth. The woman he looked down on possessed more integrity than almost everyone else in our family combined. Before I tell you how my second marriage exposed the emotional emptiness hiding beneath my family's obsession with status, make sure to subscribe. Because this story taught me something most wealthy families never admit publicly. Money often makes people excellent at evaluating appearances and terrible at recognizing genuine human value. I spent 46 years married to my wife, Catherine. We built an extraordinary life together: private schools, vacation homes, investment firms, country clubs, the polished version of the American dream people admire from a distance. Our son Gregory grew up inside comfort from birth. Not spoiled exactly. At least that's what Catherine and I told ourselves. But looking back now, comfort changes people in ways parents often fail to notice until much later. Gregory became highly successful financially. Corporate law. Luxury condo in Manhattan. Exclusive social circles. The kind of life where everyone silently measures worth through appearances, cars, addresses, watches, connections. And somewhere along the way, Gregory started believing successful people naturally possessed superior judgment. That belief became dangerous. Catherine died from a stroke 9 years ago. One ordinary breakfast, one collapsed coffee cup, and suddenly my entire world split in half permanently. People who lose lifelong spouses understand this. The grief doesn't arrive dramatically every moment. Instead, it appears quietly during ordinary routines. Setting one plate instead of two, sleeping beside silence, reaching automatically for someone who no longer exists. For years after Catherine's death, I lived mechanically. Dinner parties disappeared. Travel stopped. The house became too large emotionally. And worst of all, people slowly stopped seeing me as a person. I became the widower. That identity felt suffocating. Then I met Evelyn, completely by accident. One rainy afternoon, I wandered into a small library branch while waiting for a storm to pass. Evelyn worked there part-time organizing historical archives. She was 63, quiet, intelligent, unimpressed by wealth. That last part fascinated me immediately. Most people treated me differently after learning about my financial background, either overly respectful or subtly calculating. Evelyn didn't care, actually didn't care. She recommended books without asking what I did professionally, corrected my historical facts bluntly, laughed loudly at terrible jokes. And for the first time in years, I felt visible again. Not rich, not successful. Human. Over the following year, our friendship slowly deepened. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long evening walks. And eventually, companionship became love. Real love. The calm, kind older people rarely expect to find twice in one lifetime. But I knew Gregory would hate it immediately. Not because Evelyn treated me poorly, because she disrupted the image of life he believed someone like me should maintain. And unfortunately, I was right. The first dinner introducing Evelyn to Gregory remains one of the most uncomfortable nights of my life. Gregory arrived already tense. His wife Vanessa looked politely horrified before Evelyn even sat down. The judgment started instantly. Subtle questions. Where did you study? What neighborhood do you live in? Have you traveled internationally much? People obsessed with status rarely insult directly at first. They investigate hierarchy politely. Evelyn noticed immediately. So did I. Still, she handled herself gracefully. Too gracefully. Because honestly, Gregory didn't deserve her patience that night. After dinner, he cornered me privately. Dad, this looks bad. Looks bad. Interesting phrase. Not feels wrong. Not concerns me emotionally. Looks bad. I stared at him in disbelief. She's kind, I replied quietly. Gregory sighed impatiently. She works at a library, Dad. As though basic employment somehow reduced her humanity. Then came the accusation I should have expected. She's obviously after financial security. I nearly slapped him. Actually, nearly slapped him. Because after decades raising him, hearing that level of arrogance and suspicion coming from my own son physically sickened me. I told him calmly, "Not everyone measures people by net worth." Gregory laughed bitterly. "Maybe not poor people." That sentence changed our relationship permanently. Still, despite his disapproval, Evelyn and I married quietly 18 months later. No extravagant ceremony. No luxury venue. Just close friends, soft music, and peace. Gregory refused attending. Completely. For nearly 2 years afterward, contact became minimal. Holiday calls. Awkward conversations. Emotional distance. And underneath everything, judgment. I could feel it constantly. Gregory genuinely believed I became vulnerable after Catherine's death, and married beneath my social standing out of loneliness. Meanwhile, Evelyn never once asked about inheritance, never questioned investments, never pressured financial decisions. If anything, she avoided discussions about money entirely. That should have told me something important much earlier. Then came the hospital emergency. Everything changed one winter evening after I collapsed during dinner from cardiac complications. Triple bypass surgery followed. Complications after surgery nearly killed me. For several terrifying days, doctors weren't optimistic, and during that crisis, people revealed themselves clearly. Gregory arrived immediately. But emotionally, he looked overwhelmed by logistics more than fear. Insurance discussions, specialists, financial planning, control. Meanwhile, Evelyn never left my bedside. Not once. She slept in waiting room chairs, learned medication schedules, spoke gently to nurses, held my hand through hallucinations caused by anesthesia complications. One night, while drifting in and out of consciousness, I overheard Gregory speaking privately to a physician. "We need to ensure she isn't influencing decisions improperly." She, not Evelyn, not my wife. She, even then, even while I fought for my life, he still suspected her motives. Then came the moment that shattered his entire worldview. During financial authorization, Review's hospital administrators discovered something surprising. Evelyn quietly paid over $200,000 of emergency treatment costs immediately from her own accounts to avoid delays with insurance complications. Gregory was stunned, actually speechless, because apparently, his poor librarian stepmother secretly owned substantial assets herself. Inheritance, investments, property. Not billionaire-level wealth, but significant, very significant. And she never mentioned any of it. Why? Because unlike people obsessed with status, Evelyn didn't organize identity around money. The revelation hit Gregory like physical impact, especially after discovering something even more humiliating. Years earlier, Evelyn anonymously funded literacy programs and scholarship foundations, including one Gregory publicly praised during a corporate charity gala. He spent years admiring her work professionally while privately disrespecting her personally. That irony destroyed him emotionally. I'll never forget the night he finally broke down. Sitting beside my hospital bed around midnight, Gregory whispered, "I think I became the kind of person Mom would have hated." That sentence shattered me, because beneath all the arrogance was still my son, lost somewhere underneath decades of status obsession. Evelyn forgave him faster than I did. That's the kind of woman she is. Not naive, not weak, simply emotionally mature in ways wealthy people often aren't forced to become. Recovery after surgery changed our family permanently. Gregory entered therapy eventually. Real therapy. Not executive coaching disguised as self-improvement. Actual emotional work. For the first time in his life, he started questioning why wealth and appearances controlled so much of his thinking. The answers weren't simple. Fear competition, social conditioning, corporate culture, elite environments where human value constantly gets attached to visible success. And honestly, part of the blame belonged to me too. Catherine and I built comfortable lives for Gregory. But perhaps we failed teaching him how easily privilege distorts empathy. Today, Evelyn and Gregory actually get along surprisingly well. Not perfectly, but genuinely. Sometimes they even argue about books for hours over dinner. And every time I watch them laugh together, I remember how close we came to losing each other permanently because of pride and assumptions. Before Catherine died, she once told me something I didn't fully understand at the time. The people most obsessed with status are usually terrified. There's nothing valuable underneath it. Now I understand exactly what she meant. Have you ever watched someone judge another person's worth based entirely on money or appearance? Tell me in the comments below. And if this story touched you, please like and subscribe. Because sometimes the richest people in the room are the ones who need wealth the least to feel valuable.